Hey everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer. I'm sorry, I've already read some of the comments from last week because I saw there were a lot more than usual. And y'all liked when I was done up a little bit, you know, hair parted to the side, nice shirt. No, you're getting, I went to the gym late. I came back and said I'm throwing on the hat after I washed my head, and that's what you're getting. You're getting ultra casual post-gym haps for this week. So none of that going on. So I'm doing this on Saturday. Again, it just kind of works out schedule wise because I have some things I have to take care of on Sunday. I kind of like I hate answering the questions on a Saturday because then people ask on a Sunday and I feel kind of bad. But, you know, ask earlier in the week and, you know, depending on how the week goes, sometimes it works out better or worse, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing. I'm doing another Saturday night one. Just after finishing dinner, oven roasted some chicken breasts. I like to do like 3 to 4 pounds of chicken at a time. I made like broccoli and cheese together with that. It's good. And then there's some toast with it. I don't know why I didn't do rice. Just didn't want to. I was like, we get to recording the video. But anyway, yeah, the only thing I have for the start of this video, I didn't do much on the other channels. My attention hasn't really been too much on YouTube. Like I said, I think I said it last week, I'm kind of chilling a little bit because, you know, once the combat live letter kicks off, you know, we're probably going to be nonstop about every individual detail that we can find and stretch out content-wise. Dawn Trail's like, it's going to be crazy. So chilling a little bit, just putting out some Lodestone news videos. Maybe if they do anything else in the meantime, do that, but just coasting for the time being. For this video, though, I do have a not sponsored mention. What I mean by that is I'm doing a sponsored thing over on Twitch, so I haven't been paid to do anything on YouTube, but it's something that benefits me anyway if I talk about it, so I might as well. I do a handful of like sponsorships where on top of being paid, like they just pay me a flat sum, I also get paid when people sign up for certain things. And so I'm sure you guys have seen like AFK Journey ads around. I saw like 1 billion of them before being offered a sponsorship. Yeah, I got one of those. So anyone who signs up and gets resonance level 20 or 40 or drops $5 on it, I don't recommend doing that. It's not even that I don't recommend it. It's there's zero reason to expect anyone to drop $5 on a game just because I benefit from it. So the resonance level 2040, which is essentially just leveling all the characters 2040. If you download it through the link on PC and do that, then, you know, I make a few bucks. It's not a big deal. I outlined it in my Discord, which I don't usually advertise here on YouTube. But, you know, it's whatever. I'll just include a link. That's only going to be in this one. And again, they didn't make me do this, but if anyone uses it, I benefit. So why not? There's been a lot of people doing it and a lot of people having fun. Just wish the guild sizes were bigger. It's only like 30. As for this coming week, Honkai 2.2 is going to be out. I'm not pulling on anyone in 2.2. I'm waiting for Firefly in 2.3. So yeah, that's going to be a temptation that I have to resist. Anyway, with that, it's getting late. It's like almost 9 p.m. already. So let's get into the Q&A. Thanks to the sponsors over on Patreon also. Nobody has to support over there. Anyone over there, it's optional. All my content's available for free. None of it's paywalled. So as long as you enjoy this video, ask a question for next week in the comment section. We're all good, you know, but that's just always there as an option along with hype chats and the AFK Journey link. Any of those. If you want to do something, go ahead. If not, just enjoy the video. That's all it's here for. Anyway, there are a lot of comments, so I have a feeling we'll be lightning rounding quite a few, so let's get started, and I apologize if some of the answers are a bit abrupt. All right, I have to scroll down, so look at this. New Jersey mobster, shaved and now looks 23. You know, it's funny. When I was 23 was when I dislocated my shoulder. I had a shoulder injury that year. I was basically in similar-ish shape, a little bit scrawnier, back when I was 23. So it's kind of funny that you use that exact age. Italian Tom Holland, Joaquin Phoenix took over the show. Looks like he lost 60. Right now it would be 45 pounds because I've been putting on a few pounds just to, you know, put on some strength. We're doing a little bit more strength training. But yeah, basically about 50 pounds. You're not far off. Esteem is what that's not about. Well, like, look, this is what like all the comments are as I'm scrolling. And this is why it has 140 comments. Looking like the warrior of light. Some stuff about the Black Mage question last week. Relief in your face sleeping in. I actually took a 2.5 hour nap the other day too. And I've been coasting since then because then I went to bed normal time. I don't know how I did it, but I went to bed normal time after that. I was like a 9-hour sleep night. I've been coasting ever since that because it's been normal night sleep after that. I gotta take another 2.5 hour nap at some point this week. That's gonna be good. Voice coming out of a different face. New season of The Sopranos. Pet size question. Glow up, working out, getting healthy is paying off. Always great to see you give yourself some time. Like, this is just what I'm just scrolling. I might as well, like, I'm not even meaning the lightning round it. Just look, it's not even questions. Transformation from a year ago is looking good. Cleans up nice when he shaves. Yeah, look at that. I gotta do this. This is the big thing I get lazy about. See these little ones right here and like right here? I gotta just do that like weekly. And that should be fine. Hope the week picks up for you. Oh, look, a question. I'll answer it. We'll all consider that part of the first cut. Let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of text. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello, hi, hope you're doing fine. Insert time of day, good sir. I'm doing swell, thank you. Couple questions, thoughts about the state of the realm you guys did on... This was from 2 hours ago. You picked a good time to do it. What if Red Mage dropped Jolt and always had Fire, Stone, but still got procs, so the procs increase the mana you get from using them? You know, I'm probably not the right person to ask because I'm not the Red Mage main. You know, I know what the flow generally feels like with all the changes they've gotten in Endwalker. But yeah, as long as you don't have those awkward situations. I remember when Red Mage was brand new, there were issues where you could go through your rotation in a way that kind of felt natural, but you had to kind of restrain yourself a little bit because you could actually get even mana very easily. This is a long time ago. You know, this isn't any time during Endwalker, unless it happens in Endwalker 2, but I don't recall it ever really happening there. So as long as it's balanced such a way that doesn't happen, realistically, you could go either way with it. If any of you watching haven't seen that State of the Realm with Exu, highly recommend it. But I'm not like the most qualified person to say they should do something with Red Mage instead of something else. I just agreed with the point that Jolt is just kind of like, okay, like I guess we have that spell as Red Mages, you know. Alternatively, what if Jolt only had a 1.5-second cast time, making it semi-viable movement tool? Yeah, I mean, honestly, anything that improves their movement. I think people want to like Reprise, but it's just doing Reprise hurts way too much. What if someone put a bug in Yoshi P's ear that they could make the job gauge reflect ready procs? Yeah, I mean, any sort of proc is always a good idea for a job gauge. I do sometimes get concerned that job gauges can be too busy. I don't think Red Mage's is. I think its simplicity, though, makes it look good. I feel like if you just slap on like a little diamond on the white side or a diamond on the dark side, I think that makes sense if you can store procs. Like if you can store... a proc for, you know, for Fire or Stone, and then use them later, and then you just have like 2 or 3. That would make more sense to me then. If anything, you could do something really simple. You could light up the side of the mana bar that is procced. Like if it's the light side, it like glows light, and if it's on the dark side, it like has like a blackish reddish hue. Yeah, I mean, all of these things are reasonable, but again, I'm not the Red Mage, so it feels wrong for me to be like, yeah, they should do that. You know, it's really the people who play it actively. I'm a big advocate for the people who don't play a job are not the people to try and impress. The people who do play the job are the people you want to impress, because if they can get that, if they like it, they're more likely to share that with other people, especially online, and maybe get a little bit more interest going into it. And then there's critiques and stuff. We got way too many questions, and this is like, oh, look at all this text. I'm sorry, I can't do this. Even if I wasn't doing this on a Saturday night, I can't do all that. So thank you for writing it, but I gotta get to the next question. You know, this is another thing I see a lot. You should make a video or share somewhere your diet. My diet's not that fancy, and I change it every like 2 months or so. I go to like maintenance or slight deficit every couple of months. I haven't done a major deficit since, I want to say, would have been, I think September is where I did the like a 400 calorie deficit per day, 400 or 500 calorie deficit per day. And then since October, I haven't done that. But it's honestly just a matter of not buying garbage and eating too much. Like there are days where I literally wake up and I make something like I have like a bagel and peanut butter for breakfast. And then I'll have 2 bananas throughout the day. And then I'll have a protein shake, and then I'll have like a pound of chicken, or I'll have like sweet and sour, like beef or something like that, you know, with a little bit lower on the sugar count. And then I'll have either rice or just like whole grain, like higher protein focused breads, trying to aim for that like 180, 190 mark on protein. And that's it. And then like once a week, I'll go and I'll buy something that's like I'll buy like these crackers that I get and hummus or something like that. But I'm not like, I don't drink soda. My coffee I drink is black. I don't drink any sugary drinks at all. And it's really all it is. There's not like in the mornings I have a choice between these three things, and then I have the midday snack that's like this and this for like no, it's just having vegetables with 2 out of my 3 major meals in the day, having enough carbs so I have energy, and meeting a protein goal, and that's it. Like I'll stir fry some beef with like lentils and broccoli and like sweet peas and stuff like that. Or else a lot of times I'll have broccoli on its own. I know it's kind of a stereotype, but I've always loved broccoli. Growing up, I loved it, so it's easy. And then sometimes I'll throw something else in, like maybe I want to like have a really easy protein option. I'll go and buy like some seitan or something from the grocery store, because it's like really easy to get a lot of protein from a very small amount of it, at least when it's on sale. I don't want to buy it when it's not on sale. And that's it. Like there's no like formula. Everyone has to figure out what works for them in their everyday life. And because when you just lift something off what somebody else is doing, a lot of the times it doesn't go super great. Like it's easy to get disappointed. It's easy to see something working for somebody else and get depressed. And it's not really tailored to you. Like he's making a drastic change all at once. I don't recommend. Like when people go from like not doing keto to keto, I'm like super against. I'm kind of against keto as a whole, because it's not really meant to be a dietary thing. And it can have a lot of negative impacts. Honestly, the biggest thing I fear of is when people come off of keto, the depression, because your body, when it's learning to process carbs again, it's not fun. It's not fun for anybody. I don't know a single person who's done it who has at some point been glad with it. It's like you have to stay that way for the rest of your life. And there's all sorts of things that can go wrong with that. So it's literally, that's all it is. That's why I don't make a video, because I'm not a huge fan of videos as resources outside of someone sharing their experiences. Like the obvious stuff is obvious for a reason. The more specific stuff is a lot of the times personal, and you can seem like you are people are always looking for the easy answer, right? And that's why there's so many like fitness talks and like reels and stuff of people saying like, oh, do this exercise to target your belly fat. That doesn't work. It's just because people are desperate for that. The algorithm knows people are looking for that. It's just a frequently looked at thing. People don't know that spot reduction is kind of just garbo. And so they make content on like, oh, I'll do these like side lunges or leg raises. Like, yeah, you should do those things, but that doesn't get rid of a specific portion of your body's fat. It's just caloric deficit and maintenance of said deficit, and doing any sort of like calorie burn on top of that, like measuring it all together and like getting your body healthier while also reducing intake. It's like, it's all just math and execution. So that's it. That's all I have to say on that. I know it wasn't a question, but because I get the question every week, I figure I should have one time where I just sit down and say, just don't eat as much garbage and move around a little bit more. And it goes a long way. I want to get I think my last step is a standing desk, because I think sitting for 7 hours for stream every day, even if, get up, use the restroom, whatever, is hindering progress, especially around the midsection where I still want to remove a little bit next time I do a cut over the summer. So that's like a logical next step for me, and that's probably what I'm going to do. I know some people are going to be like, oh, what about the little treadmills for under your desk? Yeah, maybe, but, one step at a time. Okay, we really got to go fast, and there's a lot of text on a lot of these. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Good morning, afternoon, evening to you, Mr. Happy. Hello. I got 2 questions and 1 suggestion for today, if that is okay. Suggestion first, better consistency on article sources and the likes when you post a video. Things like the lodestone updates, whatever else you're covering, try to post the link. Yeah, a lot of the times just like it's on the lodestone. Like, for articles, like full-blown like article references, I always do it. For the lodestone, it's like, it's on the lodestone, So I almost want to get people to just go there on their own and make a habit out of it. And if I do it for them, then they never will. Question number 1, do you ever try the game V Rising? No, I watched a few of my friends play. It seems pretty cool, but I'm never going to really cover it. Most likely. I got too many other things going on, and it doesn't really match what I usually cover. Your Clovis inspired me to take my own health more serious. I guess I should have waited till this to do that whole thing from earlier. My question is not so much the exercise portion, but rather the food. Do you have any trouble with adjusting your diet? No, I did mine gradually. In fact, I didn't even start working out until a month after I had gone through adjustments week after week, changing things. That's another thing that really helped me, was not doing too much at once. I said, okay, I want to do this. I was in really good shape in college. Let me get back to that. I can get all those old habits back, but simple thing, don't buy junk. to make sure that I'm being a little bit more cognizant of how much I'm consuming. And that was it. I did that for a month, and then I started working out. So I didn't have any trouble. It was just making simpler choices. Even if they're not the absolute healthiest choices, they can be healthier. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go buy a billion like fresh vegetables, like go buy asparagus and carrots but no, like honestly, if you still need frozen vegetables to get through like a meal, it's not the greatest, but it's better than probably whatever else you were buying at the time. Just buy the like not covered in sauce vegetables, and that's like a more positive step. So that's it. I mean, the thing is, we're converting the healthier choices into the same old safe foods. That's like a mentality switch, and you just have to do it or have some sort of accountability for it over time. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy 1227. Hello, hi, longtime listener, first time asker. Welcome. Question is about player culture towards high-end content. Me and my group of friends are casual players. We usually clear current savages after 3 or 4. I don't know if it's weeks or months, but I mean, either way, you know, if honestly 3 to 4 weeks is, that was casual, 3 to 4 weeks, that's solid. And 3 to 4 months is more what I would expect from casual, but is also pretty good. I decided to go into Criterion blind and surprised at how much fun it was to try and figure it out. Even though it took 3 months to clear one, we felt very accomplished. Good, congratulations. I'm glad to hear someone getting into Criterion who plays on a more casual basis, because it is a lot of fun. And I'm thinking that a majority of raiders never get to experience this, as the community will expect people to follow guides as soon as they are available. I think Square Enix will want more players to have this experience. And do you think the Criterion for this purpose? No, there's no overlap there. Square doesn't in any way expect to police players on whether or not to do something with zero experience. They leave that up to us. And the way that we police it is you make a PF that is looking for completely blind, blah, blah, blah. And then it's a bit of an honor system, but like, you can't make people behave in a different way. If people want to look at a guide for Criterion or watch someone clear it before going in, they're going to do it. And a lot of people want to do that. So you can't force it. You just have to be lucky enough to, as you've done, find a group of people that meets the same needs. And that's true in Criterion, and that's true in the rest of the game. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps. Hi. And a spare hello to any who forget. Dude, last week was brutal. I usually don't remember stuff from the previous weeks, but last week was brutal. Plan on going through the roulettes before daily reset day of expansion launch for easy XP prior to going into the expansion. What roulettes are worth the EXP and which ones aren't? And do you have to start the first MSQ quest in DT to be able to start getting EXP? No, you're instantly going to have your level uncapped as long as you own Dawn Trail. In fact, one of the biggest things that you should do, and I will be doing a video on this, I do it every expansion, is to prep a Wondrous Tales book that Tuesday. So basically that Tuesday, actually, I'm sorry, the previous Tuesday. So the early access is the 28th. So the current Tuesday would be 27th, 26th, 25th. Go back June 18th, get a Wondrous Tales book and prep it. Because when you turn it in and take the EXP, you're going to gain half a level. You can then turn that in for half a level instantly upon the expansion starting and get another one. Now, not a lot of people want to instantly do another Wondrous Tales book, but at the very least, you're sitting on half a level a week of just doing old content for the most part. So, you know, you really can't go wrong. But as for roulettes, I think Leveling and Alliance are the two big winners. You could do the PvP roulette as well. It's pretty good EXP, but I probably wouldn't do 50, 60, 70, 80. You won't have Expert anymore. It's not a leveling, or it's not a roulette you use level. You're not going to do Guild Hast. And normal raids and trials aren't very good. Like, if you can knock them out real quick, it's perfectly fine. But I would strictly do Leveling, Alliance, and Wondrous Tales, and then you will gain at least a level from that. Not to mention, don't forget, you are going to have a few levels of Rested. There are other things that you can do to prepare for that as well. But I'm going to be going over all that in the video, and those are like the 3 big things that if you really want to do it, you can do it. And you don't need to start the Dawn Trail MSQ to get that level, so you don't need to worry about that. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Happy. Hi. And kitties. Oh, yeah, he was running around. She was running around in the middle of the video earlier. DT will be my first time playing an expansion on release. Roughly how long does it take to get through MSQ? Every MSQ is about 40 to 50 hours. That's how much to expect every time. That's with watching the cutscenes normally. And then with skipping the cutscenes, I mean, it depends. Like, Endwalker is like 10 hours if you skip the cutscenes. It's like 40 hours of cutscenes. Whereas most other expansions, it's more like a third of that time is cutscenes. So yeah, we'll go with the 40 to 50 hour guesstimation. And yeah, you'll be fine. You'll have 4 weeks before you have 2 weeks before normal raids even come out, and another 2 weeks before Savage. So I think you'll be all right. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, hello, bonjour, etc. Hopefully making up for the missing ones. Now we got plenty of spares for the week. What are your top 3 offline FFs and why? Oh, God, I hate having this discussion. I don't hate it because it's bad, but because nobody can ever accept some of these top 3 without complaining about one of them. Final Fantasy VI is number 1. Final Fantasy X is number 2, and Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age is number 3. Not the original Final Fantasy XII, Zodiac Age. The gameplay differences really do make all the difference. And why? Final Fantasy VI, love the story, love the characters, love the way that they handle the split parties in the game. I think there are definitely a few faults that I could find. It's for the first instance of a limit break style system that most people don't even know exists because desperation attacks are very infrequent. I've only ever seen 2 in my entire time playing in all of these years. Final Fantasy X, first voice acted one. I know it gets memed on a little bit, but it definitely left a big impression on me as a kid. Beautiful story, beautiful music, beautiful world, and a tried and true turn-based RPG system. The sphere grid could give or take, I could take it or leave it in some ways. I liked it as a kid, taking all the time to fill in the empty spheres, but it's a daunting task. And Zodiac Age, I was always okay with the story. Yeah, there's a couple of characters that you could pretty much do without in the story, but other than that, I was usually okay with how the story pans out. And gameplay-wise, it's kind of like an MMO offline, the way that it's designed, and given how much I played MMOs in my life, I kind of vibe with that. So when they fixed the progression and changed a few things for IZJS back in the day, now Zodiac Age for the HD version, that really kind of pushed me over the edge to really liking it, especially New Game Minus, where you don't level up at all. Something you could technically do before in the other versions of 12 with an accessory, but now it's its own mode, and I love that. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, apps. Hi. Would you ever do a video going over all the different things Square Enix has done to the game to optimize the experience for the expansions, like dividing areas into numbered instant zones, and those kind of changes? I mean, we don't really have that per se, but we have the retrospects for like the first few expansions, and I cover a lot of quality of life in those. But I don't really know where I'd begin on a video like that. There's been so much quality of life that like putting it in even multiple videos, it's just, man, I feel like, no, I don't think I would do that. Just all that matters is how the game plays now. What still needs to be adjusted now. Was it cool that they did some things in the past? Is it great that it's better than it was before? Absolutely. But I'm a firm believer of focusing on the here and now and what can still be improved. Friends list, blacklist, which we know they're doing, among other features as well. So I'd rather focus on kind of encouraging discussion around those than, looking back at the past and giving them a pat on the back that I've already given them at some point. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Haps. Hi. Hope you're well. You too. I have 2 questions. With all the talk about job balance and the power of 2-minute raid buffs, do you think Square Enix will ever change the damage calc formula to make buff stacking have diminishing returns like there is for mitigation? So no, because even if there was diminishing returns, you would still want to line up your buffs with other people's buffs, especially because critical hit rates will act as a multiplier. It wouldn't help at all. It would, if anything, it would just make a lot of jobs feel worse to play because you'd be like, oh, we don't want to stack our buffs because of diminishing returns, so I'll use mine after this. Like, people, you can't even get 2 dancers to tech step at different times most of the time. You think you're going to get everyone else to kind of no. It's not going to work. That's not going to work out. I don't think that's not the answer. That's not it. To really enjoy 16's combat system, want Square Enix to make more games that improve upon it. What are some changes you would like to see in a future title that innovate the system? I think they went a little overboard with the flashiness of the ultimate skills. I think, almost all of the casual builds and honestly all of the most effective minimal effort builds involve time-stopping ultimate attacks. And I didn't mind them, but I felt like they were too much. I think maybe toning those down and focusing more on raw executional skills, which you can choose to do. You just are asking for a more difficult game in the process, is really something that gives you better skill expression outside of like a combo video on YouTube or something like that. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello there. I'm actually getting tired. This is the only reason why I don't want to do it at night. To prepare for Dawn Trail, is there a way to check the queue of the servers before logging in? No. You can check the average population the last time that a Lucky Boncho census went out, which are not official and probably won't work as well anymore. But other than that, no, there's nothing. God, there's a comment right above this one that says he looked at our DPS for tanks. You were right. That was dumb. That was dumb. Although you do have to consider that that's going to still be mildly reflective. But no, you're right. That was dumb. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hi. Hope the day is doing well. Yeah, I can't complain. Quick question. I had to start while listening to your State of the Realm. What would Final Fantasy's balance look like if skill speed and spell speed stats were removed and GCD variance was normalized? I mean, yeah, removing stuff and homogenizing it technically benefits balance. But I'd rather not go that route. I don't want less options. I want more options. You know, that's just how I feel. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Haps. Hi. Was going through an Aglaya run. Aglaya rum. And a tank pulled the boss during 11 people watching the cutscene. That's a lot of people to be watching a cutscene. Someone said make a wall and everyone wiped to redo the fight. Cool. After the reset, tanks pull again after everyone is in the room and was kicked. Probably for the early pull again. That's unfortunate. Say cutscene disruption should resolve in a kick. What was your weirdest experience during a mission or duty? Should it? I mean, if the person is being disruptive to a majority of the group, I think that does warrant a valid kick opportunity. The only time I think that kicks are just kind of dumb is when like a few people queue together into like a leveling roulette and they don't like the fourth person. And like the fourth person isn't even doing anything wrong, but they just gang up on them. Like I've seen that situation unravel a handful of times, especially through like various Reddit posts and stuff. But then you always got to investigate further because you don't actually know. You need both sides of the story on that one. But yeah, no, I mean, if the person's just deliberately kind of like just can't read the room and just is just like, I got to do this so fast. It's from my alliance roulette. My time is so valuable. Yeah, no, that's probably resolves in a kick, which then wastes more of their time. It shows that sometimes being patient, the lesson is sometimes being patient is the faster way to do things, you know, turtle in the hair and all that. Weirdest experience during a mission or duty. I don't have a weird experience for a mission or duty, but there's this one PF that goes up on Ether for hunt trains, not all the time, but it takes forever to fill for some reason. And when I join it, I get kicked. I'm not blacklisted by the leader, but I get kicked. And it's really strange because I don't know who that person is. I've never spoken to that person and it's always unexplained. And I don't get it. And I don't know why it also takes so long to fill in the first place. It makes me think that maybe it's not just a me thing. Maybe they just do it to a lot of people. I don't know. I don't know what the answer. That's the weirdest thing. And that's a recent thing. Other than that, I had a group that complained about me healing, DPSing on healer in a dungeon in like Heaven's Ward. And I was just like, but did you die? And they didn't boot me and we beat the dungeon. And that was the end of that. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Hap. Hi. Do you think that 14 expansions will benefit from meta achievements similar to what WoW has for each expansion? Okay, I'm going to need that 100% defined because I haven't played WoW in ages. For those of you who are not familiar with the idea, is that collection of achievements from various gameplay aspects of that expansion, e.g. killed all bosses from the 8 or 24 man, gained up to X tribal rep, completed X role quest, played. They don't have to be super time consuming. It should serve as a signal that I participated in all gameplay contents from the expansion. I mean, it just sounds like you want an extra achievement pop for the things you're already doing, which most of the time have their own individual achievement pops. I mean, it's harmless, but it also doesn't do anything, I suppose. Like, that means I wouldn't have it because I haven't done Island Sanctuary stuff. It also kind of puts a lot of content in a box. Like, does it belong to the expansion? Sure, but look at Eureka and Bozia, which we were talking about last week. Like, those are still, like, frequented now. Would I really want to say nowadays that those belong to Stormblood? No. So when something else comes out like Cosmic Exploration or the next exploration area, do I want to associate that with just the expansion? Not really. I mean, trial roulettes keep you in the various trials. Like the game is built to send you back to a lot of things. So for me, it feels like it's kind of putting the content in a box instead of just giving you the achievement for having done the content itself. So I'm not against it, but I guess I don't see the point of it. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Slick Happy. Not this week. Hey, Haps. Hello. Hope your week is going better than last. Yeah, I mean, I put out a little bit more, and like I said, I got that extra sleep, although, like I said, it's getting late. Listen, I'm an old man, okay? 9 p.m. is late for me. It's 9:29 as of right now. That's when I start to think about bed. As a fellow Mung enjoyer, general fan of punching, do you recommend any games with satisfying hand-to-hand combat? Oh, obviously the Bouncer on PlayStation. I actually really want to replay the Bouncer. It's been a while. Let's see. Neo, Wolong, Claws from Ninja Gaiden. You know, it's one that it's guilty pleasure punching game. guys remember Dauntless? It's kind of like Monster Hunter-esque, cel-shaded game. A lot of people thought it was just Fortnite Monster Hunter. I played it a lot. I was a partner with them. I had my own flair in that game. And they introduced punching weapons several years ago, and they kind of function like samurai weapons in a sense, where like you do the finishers and you generate 1, 2, or 3 of the gauge. You have to do the different finishers to get the things. And actually, do you have to do the different? No, I don't think you have to do different finishers. You just have to do 1, 2, or 3 finishers. It's been a while since I played. But essentially, when you execute a finishing move, it does a different move depending on how many of the gauges that you filled by doing finishers. And so you have 1, 2, or 3. One of them's a buff, one of them's big damage, and one of them, I think one of them does more like part damage or something like that. Very satisfying. I love the fist weapons of Dauntless. So if you ever have some spare time and you know, just want to download a free-to-play game that has some pretty good punching, that's one of them. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Happy. Hi. Hope you're having a great start to your week. I hope I do too. With the next live letter just around the corner, what do you think will be the biggest takeaways versus the things to wait and see on? I feel like the media tour plus job trailer info, people run into content as soon as it releases and take what they see as end all be all. Yeah, that's pretty true. It's funny because I mentioned this a few times. The the skills that we see in the benchmark are likely from like a build from 6 months ago. And the media tour is usually like 2 or 3 months prior. So you're usually already playing with something that's a little bit outdated. The general idea is that the core theme of the job for the expansion is probably locked in, but individual skill effects are very likely to change, or names might be missed. Like the media tour has had like, you know, bad text or like bad potency reads and stuff that we were in the past. Like, it's like, don't even focus on that because no, this doesn't have a potency of 5, obviously. It'd be like, Saber Dance, potency of 5. Be like, that's not right. That's not right. But there are some things like we've seen White Mage and I want to say Shadowbringers undergo a pretty significant change from what was seen in Media Tour to full release. Like there was a lot of negative feedback from both like creators and people seeing the changes. And even then they still needed more changes post release. So I'd say that like whatever the new gimmick is, it is the only thing that the most major thing that you may see a change to, but not the overall flow of the job from what you see beforehand. Odds are any change that's that significant will take place after release, after the general public has gotten their hands on it. But there's no indication as to what may change other than spell names, overall effects. Like Monk lost 2 of its positionals between Media Tour and release. You know, so they were 4 positionals, and then and then 2 months later, they were 2 positionals. So, you know, it's things like that can definitely change as well. But there's really no way of knowing. You just have to kind of take what it is, speak your mind, and then if it doesn't get changed beforehand, but it still needs changing after the fact, then so be it. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Mr. Happy. Hi. I hope you're doing well. You too. With Square running their Return to Vana'diel campaign, it is the 22nd anniversary of the game this month. I was interested in trying it out, but I've heard from a lot of players that they would rather have official 75 cap servers. I don't know what that means. I've seen it floating around a lot. What is the 75 era and why do so many people prefer it over Retail 11? Is it like a WoW class? Yeah, it's basically a WoW classic thing. Final Fantasy 11's level cap was 75 for from 2002 until 2009, I believe. So for 7 years of the game's lifespan out of the 22 years, the level cap was actually, that's not true. In 2002, it launched at level 50. And I think in Japan in 6 to 9 months, it was up to 75. They raised it pretty quick. By the time it came to the States, it was already level 75 in the following year. And that's generally considered to be the, quote, golden era of Final Fantasy XI. But it's the golden era for people who wanted to play 11 in that state. Final Fantasy XI now is much more accessible if you kind of want to be a tourist. If you want to log in, experience all the stories, try out a bunch of jobs, maybe see some of the stuff that's within reach for solo, or maybe with a couple of people if you know people you're playing with, or maybe you get lucky with a shout. Great. But if you wanted to sit down and play a much slower game where, you know, you might sit around for a few hours looking for a party, or when you get the party, you might take 3-4 hours to gain a level while killing, you know, lizards or crabs over and over again. If you wanted to take several hours to do a quest that gives you an important piece of equipment for your job, you know, so be it. It's meant to be a slower paced game. It's something I have no interest in anymore. I don't want to sit there for 3 hours camping Leaping Lizzie to compete against 9 other people to maybe claim it, maybe not. And even if I do not get the drop and then do that and go 1-11 on it and take like 2, I don't want to do that anymore. I recommend if you just want to be a tourist in Final Fantasy XI, play retail, use the 1-119 quick guide, which has a leveling guide in it with leveling locations, and just go through all the stories up to Rhapsodies, and then don't do Voracious because it takes a little bit more time and effort than I think most people want to put into it. If you want something that's more like an old school RuneScape experience, yeah, that 75 stuff is there, not officially supported. Square probably doesn't like that it exists. And I personally won't endorse it for a number of reasons, but among them is I just don't have any desire for it. Before answering this one, there was a previous hashtag that just wanted me to accept an apology for a missed hello. Apology is accepted. So thank you. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, how are you? Hi, I'm doing good. Hope you are too. I got more Eureka questions again. I don't mind. I like Eureka. I read on the wiki about the Pyros weapon set, but I don't understand the logos requirement. I find these logograms cheap, so I bought hundreds of them. Do I just spam them on the manipulator? So different logograms give you different actions. All of that is listed on the Eureka tracker site. You need a minimum number of total actions unlocked in order to finish the Pyro step and eventually the Hydato step. So yes, the Eureka tracker, which almost everybody will link you in a Eureka instance, does also have a logogram counter where you can keep track of it and has all the recipes to make everything and has what each of the individual logograms can actually give you. Hashtag good happy hello with Mr. Happy Mondays. Good day, Happy. Hello. Hope you and the cats are well. Yeah, they're being peaceful, so we're going to say that's well. I'll sprinkle in some more hellos in case. I think we're doing fine this week. Are Dark Knight and other FF games offensive focus versus other tank classes? Well, in most Final Fantasy games, they aren't tanks. This is really the only one where you can actually call them a dedicated tank. Like, yeah, I know some people are going to say, oh, in 11, you could run Nin sub Dark or even Dark sub Nin, and you had Dread Spikes and Drain and all that. It's like, yeah, but they were never meant to be that, you know, and in most cases, they aren't. They're a heavy armor wielding damage job. So yes, they are more offensive focused, but they're not tanks in the first place. Dark Knight doesn't seem to have as many defensive abilities and more focus on attack. Dark Knight, so this is a common thing when people start playing Dark Knight. This has always been a problem with Dark Knight. People think it's less defensive. It's really not. Like, the only major disadvantage that Dark Knight ends up having is that they have a raid wide that is magic damage focused, a raid wide mitigation that reduces magic damage, versus some of the other tanks have things that are more useful to the party, regardless of the type of damage. In most cases, it doesn't end up being a difference, but in those few cases where it's like an AoE physical damage, or it's like you're using it for, yeah, I guess, yeah, whatever, AoE physical damage, or if like it might be more effective to like block to reduce damage from like auto attacks or something, depending on if they're physical or magical. Yeah, I mean that can change, but no, they're not any less tanky than the other ones. What they are, however, is less sustaining. That's a big, like, you literally pop Raw Intuition once, you know, Bloodwetting on Warrior, and you're literally unkillable for the duration, and you can go from like no health back to full and then be unkillable and then buy a little bit of time until you get it again, and then you're good. Yeah, Dark Knight can't do that. We really need Abyssal Drain to come back in some way, because you used to be able to Dark Arts Abyssal Drain way back in the day to do a big AoE heal, and you can't anymore. And it's silly, and I don't know why they just can't give Dark Knight some more sustain, so fingers crossed. All right, it's starting to get kind of late into the video. I've taken a little longer with some of these answers than I wanted to. This one I've already read. It's just asking if you could do Wings of the Goddess in the 10 days that the Return to Vana'diel event is here. By the way, thanks for saying hello. 10 days for Wings of the Goddess? You're geared, so you're level 99 with Sparks. That's fine until the very end. I don't think you'd be able to finish Wings of the Goddess at level 99 with Sparks. I don't remember how hard the final fight is. I know that Seekers you would not be able to finish in Sparks gear, not solo. But I don't remember how the end of Wings goes in terms of like how much HP the boss had. Unfortunately, I've done the high level version of that fight more, and that boss is a lot healthier, so it's kind of skewed my vision. You can make decent progress, but Wings is it's an experience. That's all I'll say. So I don't think you could finish it in 10 days, but you would at the very least get pretty close. All right, this one's a question about interjection mechanics on packs and bosses that aren't as frequently used. They still use them on occasion. They just use them far less frequently. If there's something that requires an interject, it's more often in places like Deep Dungeon, especially in the later floors, where it can be very, very important. You still see it in trash mobs occasionally, and bosses. I'm trying to think if there were any bosses in Endwalker that aren't Deep Dungeon that had that mechanic. And yeah, you see it occasionally, but not very much. No, I don't actually know why. I feel like at this point, the tanks all have it. The Fizz ranged have it. It's not really a harm to do it. It is kind of at least in terms of major bosses having attacks to interrupt, it's kind of lame. It's just like a one-time button press check that it's a pass or fail on just the silence. So it's not the most interesting. I think it's better in trash packs like an E8S, where you have to silence the earth elementals. And even then you can still technically win even if you don't silence them. I think it works better in places like that. But no, I don't have a solid answer. They've never spoken about that in particular. Quick question here about how do I think PvP ended up on an enjoyment level. I think Crystalline Conflict, great. I still don't like that they keep stripping away wider PvP modes. I don't care for Shatter, and thus it's changes I don't care for. And I think that the overall reward structure, especially of ranked in Crystalline Conflict, still needs a lot of help. I think the rewards was the biggest problem in Endwalker, and I don't think PvP was immune to that. Of course, funny hashtag person here with all the bonus hellos. Very simple question. Other than Armored Core, favorite FromSoft game? Bloodborne. I really want 60. I'm in that camp of give me 60 FPS on PC because I would absolutely love it. Aesthetic, gameplay, it's just an absolute winner for me across the board. I would take it over. If you asked me 30 years from now, what would I want more to get remastered or remade? Would it be Bloodborne or Elden Ring? I'll take Bloodborne. This one's asking if it's going to be a nightmare being Picto in the PF. I think a lot of people won't care, but Picto, it's a little concerning because a lot of people like to move away from letting new jobs into PFs when it's like serious, like Savage level content, just because they know that a lot of players have picked it up and a lot of players are probably not very good or practiced at it yet. So at the beginning, it might be a little tougher. Give it a little more time after that, like another month or two, and it'll probably be a lot easier. But I won't lie, it might be a hard time. It probably will be a hard time. It might be a hard time. Probably. Might. Maybe. Yeah. There's a question about when we're going to get the Fantasia for the graphical update, probably on Endwalker, on Dawn Trail release. I can't see it being any sooner than that. And then this person also asking a Fantasia question. I can't see my character in the crowd to tell where I'm standing. As someone who plays a Lalafell, do you ever have this problem? No, because my position on the screen is always the same. I'm always like in the center of my screen. So no, I don't have that issue at all. So I can't relate. And as a Lalafell, my favorite thing is I can see, like, I'm smaller, so I can tell better where the center of my hitbox really is. And it makes it easier, in my opinion, to dodge AoEs. So, thumbs up. We've got one here. Did BA for the first time. How do you think it's on the Discord? It's fantastic. The leaders are incredible. They run all sorts of different things. Chaos runs, teaching runs, clear runs, all that stuff. I dislike it because there's no way for me to learn on my own. Well, you're not there to learn on your own. You're there to get it done and win. You know, they do sometimes, like I said, do the teaching runs, which are a little bit more mechanical, but they are, wait, we were underprepared and sacrifice starved. That's very rare. I've never joined a BA, unless this was deliberately kind of like a low participation teaching run, which does happen on occasion. But sacrifice starved the whole run. That means there had to be so many new players and they were just dying repeatedly. But yeah, I mean, when you're, 5-6 years late to content, I mean, yeah, you're kind of well past learning on your own at that point because you're joining somebody else's run and doing that. If you want to host a run and you want people who are fresh and blind, then sure, but just know you're probably going to die and you're going to de-level and you're going to have to go get that level again. So, just bear that in mind. All right, and then I had a question about, do I read manga? There's a whole bunch more of those comments like at the beginning. Fizz ranged question with the range text. Would you change or improve about range DPS? We did a State of the Realm on this, so I would highly recommend looking at that. We brought Sarah Naya on for that one, and it was a fun discussion about all the Fizz ranged. So we had a very good time with that one. And then... Look, one I commented on before. Somebody was like, how are you losing weight? I was like, diet and exercise for a year goes a long way. And I think this is actually everything. So there was a few questions I didn't get to, but you know what? About 50 minutes into the recording, I think it's okay to say we're going to call it here. So thank you to everyone for asking questions for this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. As a repeat from the beginning, don't forget about the AFK Journey link if you want to support the channel. Remember, this is a not sponsored bit because they didn't ask me to do it on YouTube, but I'm choosing to do it anyway. But I get paid extra if people click the link, download it and level, or grab the classic Gazette pack, or honestly spend anything because getting Rowan is just a first-time purchase. Whatever. And then, of course, if you have a question, ask it in this comment section to be answered on next week's show. So simple as that. Thank you to everyone for asking questions. Thank you to everyone for interacting and commenting. Like, subscribe. You know the whole YouTube shtick at this point. And until next time, enjoy your week. Bye-bye. Take care.